Question number 5 is featuring the same distributive property style questions that we had in numbers 1 and 3. But the difference, of course, in number 5 is it doesn't look like it has much of a distributive property. Just as we might be tempted in question number 3 to say, oh, x squared 4 squared, when we see an exponent here. In number 5, it might also be tempting to say x cubed and 2 cubed. But technically, once again, we have to remember that something cubed is quite literally 3 factors, x plus 2, followed by x plus 2, followed by another x plus 2. When we see it written that way, then we recognize that we do indeed have to distribute. I'll start by a rectangle with x plus 2 and x plus 2, and when I multiply that, I'll get x times x, x squared, x times 2 is 2x, x times 2 again is 2x, and 2 times 2 is positive 4. If I combine like terms, I have x squared with no like terms, plus 4x from the diagonal here, plus 4. That, of course, is just the first 2 terms multiplied together, but I still have another x plus 2 that I need to multiply, so I'll turn this next piece into another rectangle with the original product of the first 2 on the top and the remaining x plus 2 now on the side. As I multiply this one out, x squared times x is x cubed, x squared times 2 is 2x squared, 4x times x is 4x squared, 4x times 2 is 8x, 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times 2 is 8. Once again, we'll combine like terms, which you'll see are aligned on the diagonal. Since x cubed doesn't have any like terms, we know it'll start with x cubed in our answer, followed by 2x squared and 4x squared, which is positive 6x squared. Then we have 8x and 4x, which is positive 12x. And finally, the positive 8 that has no other like terms. You can use this generic rectangle strategy for any distributive property question, but it's particularly helpful in some of these longer ones that might involve a much more complicated process if you're going to use the traditional distributive property. Some people call it the rainbow, where you take each term and distribute to each additional term. If it's easier to set it up and do it with the multiplication method in the box, then I suggest you do that. We'll actually use that strategy all unit long.